Today is a special day. Today is actually the launch day of my sketchbook Kickstarter. And this can either rock or fail miserably.
But of course, everything's got its risks, right? I'm super excited to use Kickstarter to fund this project with you. I've been working on this sketchbook for over a year now, and I really think it's time to get it into your hands.
I'll explain more of the backstory behind this Kickstarter sketchbook in the next part. But I just wanted to break down this video for you. This video is mainly going to have 3 parts. First, I'll talk about the sketchbook in detail, and I'll talk about the Kickstarter and everything. Second, I'll take you on an adventure to Cape May, where we will find inspiration. Third, we'll use that inspiration, and I'll do an art demo on the sketchbook. Plus, I'll talk about the different types of art perspectives. Okay, so now that you know what we're up to, let's get started.
Hey there, if you're new to my channel, I'm Elaine, a multimedia illustrator who loves gouache, watercolor, and color pencils. I upload art tutorials and vlogs once in a blue moon. In this section, I'm going to tell you the story behind why and how I designed this little drawing diary. Over the years of illustrating in sketchbooks, I've tried out quite a few. Most of them have uninteresting covers, and few have great paper for multimedia. I really wanted a sketchbook that was pretty enough to sit next to my photo albums on a bookshelf, and versatile enough to take around with me, for example, on my travels. So over a year ago, late December 2022, I began sketching designs inspired by vintage book covers. I sought out a dozen factories, requested paper samples, and finally by 2023, I found a winner. After several weeks of back and forth with my manufacturer, I finally got my hands on this prototype sketchbook. I was so pleased with how it turned out. The cover is light linen with a sparkly brown embossed stamp. The elastic band is a pretty dusty pink matching the sketchbook lining, which was inspired by a vintage floral wallpaper. This sketchbook is also designed to lay flat, so that no matter how you open it up, the pages will lay flat open, so it's easier to draw in. The pages are stitched beautifully, so it's sturdier. The paper is composed of 50% cotton, 50% cellulose, which makes it perfect for both watercolor and gouache paint. It is hot pressed 200 GSM and has a fine tooth that is also great with color pencils. I took this sketchbook with me to Europe, and here are a few pages where I've used a variety of mediums: watercolor, gouache, color pencil, and pen. It's also a square shape, which makes it not only portable but also versatile for landscape spreads. Everything was beautiful, except I couldn't afford the manufacturing cost, so naturally I set this project aside. However, for the entire year of 2023, I unintentionally tested market interest by using my favorite sketchbook. Repeatedly, every time I used the sketchbook, someone would comment or DM me asking me where I got it from. And I felt bad because I was really stuck on this being impossible. Then last month, it dawned on me that if this sketchbook could benefit my fellow artist friends, then I should at least give it a shot and try to bring this to life. So last week, I sent out a design survey to my mailing list asking for design improvements. I am so grateful to hear from so many of you, and now I don't feel like I'm working on this alone. From the feedback, we will be adding a back pocket, 1-ribbon bookmark, and the sketchbook will also be sized up 1 inch. Also, on Kickstarter, there are some cool add-ons that include a pencil clip, Jumbo Bulldog clip, paint swatch cards, a color mixing cheat sheet, and a Sketchbook 101 class. The Kickstarter will start today and last for 30 days. There are several reward tiers and limited early bird slots, so grab your sketchbook now for a discounted price. If the project goal is met, then it'll take around a month and a half for production and shipping. So with your help, we will be able to get these drawing diaries into your hands by mid-spring. I'm really excited and hopeful that we can make this happen. The Kickstarter is linked below, and let me know if you have any questions. Now let's take an adventure to Cape May in New Jersey for some drawing inspiration. I will be using subjects from here to demonstrate art perspective. Welcome to Cape May, New Jersey, a quaint little town with colorful houses, beaches, and history. I wanted to take you through a quick adventure to show you how you can gather inspiration for your sketchbook practice. One way is to take pictures of subjects that interest you when you're out for a walk. Try capturing the subject in 2 different angles so you can reference them later. Let's grab lunch at the Blue Pig Tavern. It's really cute inside. If you followed me for a while, you know how I'm a sucker for well-decorated restaurants and cafes. I love how there's so much to look at in this restaurant. I love the little details, the napkin, the placemat, and even the menus are illustrated. My husband is having a tropical smoothie, and I'm having a blueberry lemonade. A silly competition between my husband and I when we go out to eat is that we would pick different beverages to see who picked the best tasting drink. Now let's explore the Washington Street Mall, which is Cape May's picturesque town square lined with cute little shops. I would recommend Cape May in the summer because these flowers will be in bloom. Some of the lovely homes I showed you earlier are actually boutique hotels. This is the room we stayed in. I love the wallpaper and how relaxing the vibe of this room is. This is our last stop, the Beach Plum Bakery and Gift Shop. I love finding local artists selling their products here. I hope you enjoyed our short adventure. Now let's head back to my desk for the art demo. I printed some video stills as options to draw from. And in this section, I will also be answering a question that Vera from Taiwan asked about drawing perspective. I noticed that I tend to use two types of drawing perspectives the most, 2-point perspective and 1-point perspective. Let me show you some examples from these photos. Here are examples of 1-point perspective, which I feel like is the most simple type of perspective. So first there is a horizon line, which is actually your eye level, not to be mistaken with the sun's horizon. And this horizon line can actually be moved up or down depending on the illusion you want to create. There is one vanishing point on this line where parallel lines converge. Now let me show you examples in my art. This specific illustration is the one that prompted Vera to ask her question. I can see why this can be confusing because of my art style. Since I usually don't do an underdrawing or use rulers, my lines are quite organic and wavy. Also, the twist is that my viewpoint, which is the spot I am looking at this scene, is from above, so it feels a tad more wonky. I think I convey perspective pretty loosely, but I still convey spatial realism and depth by depicting objects that are closer to the vanishing point, gradually smaller. Here's another example of 1-point perspective. Even though my lines are curved, there is still the illusion that whatever is farther back is receding. Now, this is an example of 2-point perspective, where on the horizon line, there are two vanishing points, and when the parallel lines converge, it creates a more dynamic three-dimensionality to the artwork. You may choose to use this perspective for more visual impact or to show more sides of the subject. And here are some examples from my art. The two on the left are 2-point perspectives, and the shop on the very right, which looks pretty flat, is 1-point perspective. All right, now let's start the art demo. I'm going to use this pretty home for our art demo. Like I said earlier, I don't usually sketch in the perspective lines, but I'm going to do it here for you to see, even though I notice now as I'm editing the video that the sketch is too light. I'll be listing the art supplies I use in the description box below. I am painting with watered down gouache, which will act like a watercolor. The great thing about using cotton paper is that the surfaces stays wet for longer, so you have time to add more variations of color and the paint will spread nicely. I love that hot pressed paper scans better when I digitize artwork than cold pressed paper because there's less texture. Also, because of its fine tooth, color pencils glide on it really smoothly and shows more pigment. Some quick tips I would give when working with colored pencil over gouache or watercolor is to wait until the paper is completely dry, otherwise the color pencil won't show up very well. Also, try not to touch watercolor paper too much because you'll transfer human oils onto it. I remember my high school art teacher yelling at us every time we grabbed watercolor paper. Human oils can cause the paper to be a bit resistant to paints. However, you can still keep painting on it. It'll be fine. But just don't be surprised when the paper seems a bit resistant. Lastly, when you get an accidental paint smudge on paper, try dabbing to lift off the color with a piece of clean wet paper towel. Alright, the rest of these little sketches will be uploaded on my Instagram Reels so you can see it there. I hope you enjoyed this little art demo, and I really hope you'll support this Drawing Diary sketchbook on Kickstarter. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you next time.